will be better next time I try. And even if I still can't do it, yeah, you know that I'm gonna stick to it. Yes, it's all about going through it, and I'm gonna tell you why. Whoopsie, whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay. It's okay. Whoopsies are what it takes to get better and better every day. Whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay. It's okay. Whoopsies, help me look, see, I'm better at this today. Woo! Whoopsies, whoopsie, whoopsie, whoopsies. I'm a little embarrassed when I look at my drawing compared to this. I'm just not getting anywhere with this. It makes me wanna hide. Aw, don't be embarrassed. Don't hide. You should have seen mine the first time I tried. It took a lot of whoopsies to look this way.
No one's perfect on their first day. Whoopsie.
Whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay. It's okay. Whoopsies are what it takes to get better and better every day. Whoopsie, 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 whoopsies.
Well, what about this? I want to jump rope, but nope, I just can't do it.
Well, not yet. Come on and practice with me. You'll see there's nothing to it.
Whoa! Whoopsie.
Whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay. It's okay. Whoopsies, help me look, see, I'm better at this today. Woo!
It was only a dream, the waves of evil crashing over us. It was only a weak and faithful scream beneath the battlements. I know it's hard, but for long, before it's too late. Wake up, my love, please don't give up on me. It's hard. Wake up. It was only a dream, the waves of evil crashing over us. It was only a weak and faithful scream beneath the battlements. But I know it's hard, before long, before it's too dark. Wake up, my love, please don't give up on me.
What is up? What is up, you guys? We are back at it again, day 22. Let's hear it. What is up, you guys? We are back again for another amazing day of 100 days of Rootkit. Today is gonna be, one of our chill Q&A days. Let me switch on my tabs on over here. Let's get our chill low beats going on here. Woo! The hype is real. The hype is real for sure. All right, let me pull up our awesome stuff here. Oops. We have a giveaway to do, you guys. Don't worry, we'll get to that. But before we do, just so you know, the week 4 giveaway is up. So if you want to support us and you have no monies, come participate in the week 4 giveaway. Absolutely requires nothing from you besides subbing to our YouTube and various other things. If you do have some cash and you would like to support us, we are a non-profit registered here in the US of A. You can go over here to this link, and I'm going to go ahead and find the screens here and post this into the chats. There we go. So if you would like to donate, that would be awesome. It helps us keep the lights on, and in return, we'll give you some of our merch. You can get various things like, look at this beautiful, beautiful hoodie. All right. And look, it even has the Rootkit logo on the back. Look, oh, there we go. So make sure you go get yourself one of these. If you want to continuously support us, you can subscribe to our Discord Premium membership or our Patreon, which, talking of, I am in the Discord right now in the events chat. So if you are a Discord Premium member, or a Patreon member, you can join the events chat and just chat away with me during the live stream. All right? Now, again, today's topic is going to be our chill Q&A. So we're not going to be teaching anything new. It's just going to be us hanging out, talking, chilling, answering any questions, reviewing things that you guys might want to go over. And today can last as long or as short as you guys would like. It's totally based off of you guys. It's all about you. It's all about you, all right? Let me see here. Take a chug of this coffee. Yeah, and then at the end of the stream today, that's when we're gonna pull the winner for the hoodie. Very exciting stuff. If you are a previous winner, make sure you post about it in our Discord and show off all your cool new merch that you got from us. All right, it really helped out. All right, so talking about questions, what questions do you guys have? We had a very eventful week. So if you go over to our GitHub, you can see our comp sci roadmap. And on our comp sci roadmap, you can see all the things you need in order to get our comp sci cert, which is a complete replacement to a college degree. If we go over here to networking protocols, which we are currently in, we can see everything that we are currently going through. We talked about a lot of stuff this week. A lot. All right. Was Wi-Fi and this stuff in it also? I don't know. There was just so much stuff. We definitely talked about OSI model, the TCP/IP model. We talked about cabling, satellites, how they interact with each other, all types of different wires, hubs, switches, routers, and we talked about addressing and how you actually send traffic to each other over these computer networks. I need to turn down this music just a little, or maybe I can just turn down right here. There we go. How's it in the stream? Is the music fine or is it too loud? While you guys answer that, I'm going to continue forward. Yeah, so we talked about addressing, padding, NATing, IPv4, IPv6, tunneling, and just compatibility modes. Still a little loud. All right, let me. Oops. Oh, that did not work. There we go. That better? All right. So we talked about ICMP, We talked about the transport layer protocols, so specifically UDP and TCP. These are not the only ones that exist, but these are the most important ones for you to know right now. We talked about the importance and differences between them. We talked about a little bit of their specifics, specifically around the TCP. We talked about application layer stuff like DNS, ports, and mail. And then we talked about security and how things like websites are secured. This extends further to websites. It extends to pretty much anything that you're going to be doing on the internet or between servers, but that's the main like use case that most people are familiar with. What questions do you guys have? What things would you guys like to see for things to be reviewed, or maybe more examples to be given? Also, I put a link in the 100 Days of Rootkit chat. Let me go and click on that. That's going to be going to Docker Desktop, which you do not need to download. But if you want to follow along with some of the examples that we give, it will definitely be beneficial to you. Also, this is a massive thing to put on your resume. So go ahead, do it, interact with it, and now you can put on your resume. It is something that is in our advanced comp sci cert, so it is a requirement in there. So you can just dabble with it. It is something that is used all the time in industry, all right? So it doesn't hurt, and it will help power your education, especially when we get into the operating systems section. So what's coming up next? Let's see here. Questions. I saw a meme about that made me giggle, but also confused me. I was going on about how I am the owner of this company, but yet I am not authorized to do certain things. Was that the meme? I don't think the meme works in text form. I think it, just go ahead and send it in the Discord. I'll go ahead and check it out. Again, for those who are joining right now, go ahead and put your questions away. Today's a chill Q&A day where we're just going to be chilling, answering questions. Today will go as long or short as you guys want. We're going to finish it with our giveaway of our sweater. So this is the week 4 giveaway, which you guys can go enter today. The week 3 giveaway is, whoops, that is the wrong link, is what we're going to be polling from today, and that will be this amazing awesome sweater here that we are going to be giving away one of. Mean that computer not come. Maybe I'm just lost right now. I don't get it. I'm sorry. All right. Y'all not have that many questions? It was a lot this week. A lot of stuff that we hit on and talked about. So the coolest thing about Docker, and why I recommend downloading it and setting it up, and if you can go through figuring out how to use it, you can emulate a lot of these things here really easily. And then when you're emulating it, you can go ahead and pull up good old Wireshark, and you can watch the traffic being sent between, oh no, not the 7 million. Here we go again. Come on. Yes. Holy crap. I swear it gets longer every single time. But like I was saying, you can emulate a lot of stuff we're talking about, and that's what we're going to do, at least an example of today. I'm going to show you guys an example of running a web server. I guess we'll run this one right here, and how you can easily change the port of it. By default, it's going to run on 80, and if it's on port 80, that means that it's going to be what protocol? See in the chat? I'm gonna reveal HTTP, and HTTP means that the traffic is, I'm gonna reveal it in chat. You can put it in chat, but I'm gonna reveal it unencrypted, which means you can view it. HTTPS is encrypted, and that's gonna be on 443. But just because something is on 443 doesn't mean it's encrypted. Well, I'll show you guys here when we go through an example. Oh man, you linked the memes. Computer, you need admin perms to perform this action. Me, I own you. I like this. This was a good meme, Kwai. Thank you for sharing this one. That's how I feel right now with Wireshark. You must obey. The revolt is coming. They're going to start revolting against us. Made me laugh, but also why? Is that going to be coming with a follow-up question, or are you just saying why? And who? Why and who what? So while you type that in, y'all very quiet. I don't see too many other questions, so I'm gonna go ahead and move forward with the Docker here as I answer the questions. Who is the admin? You are the admin, potentially. We'll get into this more in the operating systems section, don't worry. But we're going to talk about users and the different types of users that exist, and admins, and all types of funness that you didn't know exist. Because, again, this has been a reoccurring thing. There's been a lot of reoccurring themes, alright? But going back to week 1 when we talked about just straight up data and ones and zeros. How do you dictate to ones and zeros who has ownership of what? You have to make it up. Just like how you have to make up how you want to interpret ones and zeros, which you can interpret it many different ways. You can interpret it as an int, as an unsigned int, as a float, as a string like ASCII characters or UTF, alright? And it will be displayed in various different ways depending on how you want to interpret it. Same thing comes to permissions. That's not something that's built in to computers. You have to build something on top of them in software to enforce it. And that's where, if your logic isn't good, which a lot of times it's not, you can get exploits. And that's where a lot of Windows and Mac OS and Linux exploits come from, is this thing called privilege escalation, where you can go from one user to a higher privileged user by using these exploits to elevate your privileges. Because again, this is all software. People are programming and trying to think how to do it, but at the end of the day, if your logic ain't solid, there can be exploits. I have apps on my computer that I want to delete, but I run into this issue. I can't because I don't have admin perms, which is annoying because I should be able to delete apps that I have downloaded, but yet I can't. That is probably a bigger issue that you should definitely look into. So if you go to your users, so there's several different users that you can have here. So in this case, you can add a new user. Can I just add them like this? I don't have sign-in info. Add a user without a Microsoft account. So you can add a brand new user here, and by default they're going to be in Userville. And in Userville they can't do any admin actions. You have to be an admin in order to perform admin actions. And in order to perform admin actions, you have to be labeled as an admin, which your default account should be. So if you look here in my info, it says right below my name, I am the admin. Now there's pros and cons to this. The pros is you're admin, so you can easily just do things that you want on your computer. The cons to this though is you're admin, so if someone hacks your computer account, they can destroy everything way more easily than if you just had a normal user account. Now you can still do admin things as a normal user. You just need to know the name and the password for an admin account. So when those things come up, I can just click on yes and it will just move forward. But if you're in normal Userville, it will come up and it will usually ask for a username and password, or sometimes just a password because it knows what the admin username is. And if you fill that in, you'll be good and you can do admin things. You're getting temporary admin perms, which is the more secure way. I have a less secure setup. So professionally, I cannot recommend this. Personally, I can say that it's very convenient, but that's the thing, is convenience always leads to exploitation. Anything that is convenient means that you're sacrificing something else. So you need to make compromises. That's why, passwords now have to be super, super long. There's multi-factor authentication, so you have to use your cell phone to plug in a code and various other methods like that, because it's more secure. But it's really, really inconvenient. So there's a lot of research going into things right now on how to change or reimagine the password space, which you are seeing more and more in the form of passwordless accounts, which are when you try to sign into a service and they'll just email you a temporary password and use that every single time. So it requires you to have access to your email account, but as long as you do, you don't have to actually memorize a password to use these websites, which is pretty neat. Just don't lose your email, because your email is your world. That make things a little bit more clear for you. If you guys have any questions, again, you can go ahead and drop them into the chat. Awesome, so let's go ahead and go through this example here. So I have Docker downloaded and it's all started up and running. I did have issues when I downloaded Docker. I did it with WSL2, which you'll see an option for it if you don't know what it is. Basically, that's the thing you want to use. But there were some issues for me because my computer was using WSL1 for some reason. I don't know, but resolved it. So if you run into those issues also, I do currently have a fix for it. If you ask me from a week from now, I will not remember what the fix was. So you'll be on your own. But I'm gonna go ahead and open up PowerShell. If you do not have Docker, and it's okay, you don't need to follow along, you can just look at the screen and see what's happening here. So they say I can run this command to get a new container. So what these are basically servers, little tiny baby servers, all right, that I can run on my computer, and I can run an infinite amount of these little baby servers in my computer. They're called containers, which are a type of VM, which is a virtual machine. We'll get into this more. I think at the end of networking and protocols, we're going to be talking about them a little bit, and then in operating systems, we'll definitely be talking about them. So if I copy this command and run this, and it, did you not copy? There we go. So won't go into this too much, but basically we're saying what program we want to use, which is Docker. We're going to be running a new container. This is the container we're going to run. Where is it getting this from? Some website. It's pulling it from a website. And this right here are the ports to use. There's 80:80. Don't worry too much about that right now. We'll talk about that when we get to VLANs, right? VLANs are the reason why you do this. If we press enter, there we go. It's go ahead and it just set it all up. Perfect. We have this new server on my computer running right now on port 80. So if we visit this site, bam, this is the server I am running right now on my computer. How do I download Docker? I put the link in the Discord in the 100 days. I'll also put it in the chat here. There you guys go. So as you can see, I have this server running on my computer, and we talked about it a little bit before, but localhost is basically just an alias for your computer. It's the same as me typing in the loopback address. If you remember the loopback address, that's going to be 127.0.0.1, and that works the same because they are exactly the same, just localhost is an alias for your loopback address. See was there another question? How often are you relearning things within tech space? It seems like everything is moving and evolving so quickly that that it can be hard to keep up with the latest and greatest things. Yes. Let me take a drink of coffee for this. I should have filled this with booze. Yes, the tech space is changing all of the time. This is where the good devs get distinguished from the shitty devs. This is why you get laid off compared to people that don't get laid off. All right? This will show whether you can work at a high-end company like SpaceX, Tesla, whatever, or whether you're going to be working at a low-end gov-funded company like the US government themselves or most gov contracting companies. One requires you to just exist and stay in your lane. The other one requires you to be on top of your shit. All right? Now, it's up to you on where you want to fall, and of course there is a whole spectrum in between that you can go in. But it's up to you, career-wise, on where you want to go and what you want to do. Staying up to date is a part of your job. It shouldn't feel like a task, like a shitty task. It should be exciting. I don't stay up to date with things because it's just, I have to do it, it sucks, blah, blah, blah. I stay up to date with things because it's fucking awesome. All of the AI stuff that you guys know of right now in the media, ChatGPT, XYZ, I've known about that for years before it's gone mainstream. And I've used it to propose new products and implement it. And that's all about staying on top of the game because it's super, super fun. You get to mess with cool, awesome things. For example, Docker is super cool and awesome. Before Docker and containerization became something easy and popular to do, it was a very manual process of you installing, registering, configuring things, and you could run into issues very quickly. But if you stay up to date and use things like Docker, it makes your life 20 times better. Basically, every new thing that you learn in the space will make your life better and more awesome and make your output just insanely higher. There's only pros to it, and it's just an addicting cycle. They talk about social media being addicting and bad for your mind. Well, tech industry is also the same way, except you get rewarded by finding new things, and then usually those new things are super powerful and awesome, so then when you use them, you get rewarded at jobs with praises, awards, or pay raises, bonuses, etc. And so it just keeps that cycle of going out and researching and figuring out the next best thing, high on your list of to-dos. There is an initial barrier, which you guys have obviously seen with all the information we're dumping on you. There is an initial hump to get to the baseline information that you should know in this industry, but after you get there, it's not too hard to understand, and it's okay to forget specifics about things. That's why a lot of the stuff we go through here, we're testing about an inch deep and we're going a mile wide. It's not that we want you to be pros at all of these things. I don't want you to be a pro about these things. I want you to know about them. So when someone at work brings up, we need to configure a new DNS record to point to a server, you'll be familiar with DNS. You also have seen once how to set up a record, and it's not too difficult. You just plug in an IP address in the A record spot. All right. But it's not like you have to remember those off the top of your head. You can Google and look things up. This is not school. This is not college. All right. This is real world. Real world. You Google, you copy, and you steal. All right. I want you guys to be Googling, copying, and stealing code from everywhere. That is your job as a developer. Now, steal is a very aggressive term. You're not actually stealing, but the major point is get comfortable with Googling something, seeing that someone posted something, copy it, put it in your stuff, and run with it. I brought it up yesterday, I think, probably several times before. I half the time barely remember how to open a file in Python, how to go about in the language Python, like reading a file, I have to always Google it. So I always Google Python read file. There's nothing wrong with not knowing that. I've done this a million times. I still, for some reason, look how simple it is. I, for some reason, still can't just always remember it off the top of my head. So I'll go here, I'll copy this, and I'll just paste in my code. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. Let's see here. Does that answer your question, Kwai? Does Docker work with Chrome OS? No, Docker does not work with Chrome OS. I'm trying to think of an online Docker alternative. Oh, yeah, our VM platform is down right now. So vm.rootkit.education. So this is what we gave people who were on Chrome OS, Chromebooks and stuff. We have a whole setup for people to learn anywhere, whether they're on a phone, Chrome OS, or etc. And this would give you all of the stuff in a web browser that you would need, that we're talking about right now. But this is it's shut down right now because it costs a good amount of money every month for us to run. And so it's currently down because it requires you paying for the apprenticeship tier, but we've currently paused that as we develop Project 26, which should have a lot of these things included. All I have to say is, like, the easiest workaround for you would be spinning up, like making an AWS account or something, and you can spin up a server for free. They have a free tier and it's free for a whole year. Or if you like Azure, they have free tier servers that you can spin up and use. That would be completely free, and then you can follow along. I'm pretty sure there's websites out there that also might. Yeah, there is. Hold on. I used it the other day. Oh no. Oh, if Kote was here. I used it the other day when we were in a conference. I can't remember what the service is called, but there are a couple services out there where you can spin up and interact with a Docker container in the cloud. But don't worry, you can just see the example that I'm going to give here. All right, let's see. So we got this container running, which is just a server, and it's running on port 80. And we can go here and we can see that it's running. I didn't make this, Docker did. They grabbed this. Gitpod, thank you Kote for letting me know. Gitpod is what we used the other day, so you can check this out. It looks like they have a free tier. I've only used it during that one conference. I have no clue how to set it up, but they will also give you a free Docker container server, so you can get a full-on Linux box through them. But again, you could do the same thing if you just go onto AWS or you use Azure, which I would probably recommend more, but it's up to you. So let us move quickly for this example. Okay, port 80. This right now is on port 80. If I replace this localhost, the front, and do :80, it will send me to this site. This site is unencrypted. It is on HTTP. All right. Also, review localhost again. Said it before. 127.0.0.1. Your loopback address is the exact same thing as localhost. Localhost is just a convenient alias for you. And again, anything in this block, in this 127 block, will be loopback addresses. So I'm on point 4 right now. Let me change it to 20.4. Anything in this block that we talked about is going to be. Why did this just turn into encrypted? There we go. I don't know what just happened there. Is going to be your loopback addresses. I'm going to say 127.0.0.1 because I want the number one host on this network. Okay. Let's pull up Wireshark, and I'm going to be analyzing my loopback traffic because we're not using my Ethernet, we're using loopback traffic. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up Wireshark and look at this. If I refresh this page and go back here and stop, you're going to see our web traffic here on port 80. Now again, all web traffic on port 80 is going to be on. How do I access CMD on a Chromebook if I'm not admin? It's been a while since I've messed with the Chromebooks. I believe they added the ability to interact with a terminal on Chromebooks, and now they're running like Android, so that would be a version of Linux. I'm not quite familiar. So what you would do with the AWS is that you can do it all through a browser. So you go to AWS's website. So if we go to aws.com, you can get started for free. All you'll need to do is put a credit card on file just in case you go outside the free tier. They'll be able to charge it. But you'll get started for free, and the servers that you want to start are called EC2. This is what they call just servers, and there are free tier servers that you can run on there, and you will interact with it completely on the web browser. So right here they talk about the free tier. You can do it all, and they have Linux and Windows computers, and you can do it all via the web browser. I would recommend just doing Linux. You can run Docker on both of them. How many questions are on the exam? I'm not going to reveal that. Just know that it's a good amount of questions. Alright, so we looked at this traffic that came in. Again, the big thing is port 80, unencrypted traffic, alright, for websites on port 80, HTTP. We can go in here and view the traffic, and these are not great examples. We can view the traffic and see the data that's being sent. Did I miss it? Hold on. Let me restart the capture. Yes. Restarting the capture. Refresh. Stop. There we go. Here we go. And we can see the traffic for the web page we're trying to access right here. And it's all in plain text. We can go right here and see that I'm accessing this person, which let's say we're snooping on them. They're on a Windows computer, they're using Chrome, they're accessing a web page, and you can see maybe some of their cookie information. And then as you're capturing information, you can see what actually gets loaded onto the screen. And you can, this is not all of it, this is just the header, but you can basically see everything anyone is doing. So it's no bueno. Now, the thing is though, again, ports, it's just data at the end of the day. You don't need to respect what people are recommending or saying you should use. So for example, let us go to Docker. I'm going to stop this container from running, and I'm going to go into the settings here. I'm going to go into the settings here. Why do you have to be difficult? Okay, we're going to do it on the terminal. I'm going to now start it up. Instead of in port 80, I'm going to say this is port 443. Bam. Now this is running. As you can see, when I refresh the page, by default, you're going to want to go to port 80, but this is not running on port 80 anymore. This is now running on port 443. So if I go to port 443, you'll see that it's not working. Let me 1 second here. Technical difficulties. Did I do the... Wait a second. Hold on. I can never remember the order of these port stuff. Stop. Let's go back here. Look, I didn't have this prep beforehand. Alright, we're going on the whim, so I might make a mistake here or two. I swear this is not the right way to do it. I guess it is. Alright, I'm just getting confused on the order of things. Alright, so now you can see here, in small text, we are running on port 443. If you remember, port 443 is for secure encrypted HTTPS traffic. But if you look here, we're running in an insecure mode. We're using normal HTTP, but we're running on port 443. Again, this is because you can use any port you want. There's just recommended things that you should do. They are literally all just recommendations. There is no government, there is no organizational body, anyone at all that will come on you and fine you, penalize you, put you in prison because you do not want to respect their authority, that you do not want to respect the norms. You can do anything you want. I can say that I'm running on the HTTPS dedicated port, but I'm not actually running a secure website. You can do that. That is fine. It will work. We see it right here live. If I load up Wireshark, continue without saving, and I refresh this site, and we look at Wireshark and stop, you'll see that we got all of the traffic still. It is all here. We can all still see it. It is running on port 443, which is typically used for encrypted websites, but it's not encrypted because we're not encrypting our website. We're using normal HTTP. You can set it to any port you want as long as it's between the 0 to 65535 range. So again, another example, we'll go ahead, that did not stop it, whatever, we can just restart a new one. I'm going to, I don't know, set the port to 1, 2, 3, 4, can I do 5? Yes, I can do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now our web server is running on port 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't worry about this little beginning part. We'll talk about it in VLANs, which is, I believe, tomorrow or in like 2 days from now. Now, when I want to go to the site, if I specify here port 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you'll see I get the web page. It now loads because, again, these ports are just what's exposed. This is where you need to connect to. Now, how is this fun and convenient? If you're developing stuff and you want different versions of your site up, like version 1, 2, 3, you can have all of them up at the same time on different ports. Or if you're running a normal web server already, then you can run a service on something else. Maybe you want to run a secret dark web forum. You might want to choose a different port than the normal one. I don't know. I don't know what you do on your free time. But the ports are totally up to you. And you can hide, quote unquote, what you're doing. This is called obfuscation. It's a method of hiding. It's a method of security. It's the most insecure method, but it is a legitimate method. And that's obfuscation, which is hiding in plain sight, but not really doing much more. So good examples of this is if I say I have a website, but I don't want people to know my website is a thing. Only cool people that I tell about it, I want them to know my website is a thing. So I'll tell them that the port they need to go to access my website is, I don't know, port 22, which is meant for SSH typically. So when people look at your computer when they do the, what do you call it, the netstat command, for example, netstat, and maybe monitor your computer and see what you're doing. This is how cybersecurity people go about their job, and this is how you find if you've been, this is a step you can take to see if you've been hacked on the cybersecurity side of things. If you're a developer, this is a way you can see if you're running a server and you try to close it and it didn't really close and you're like, why isn't it closed? And you want to confirm it's actually open, you can do that. There's lots of tools or usages for this. But you can run like on port 22, and when you look in here, if you're running typically port 22 for SSH, you'll just look like you're doing your normal job. So for example, I'm on Windows, and Windows runs by default 135. So if I first turned off the Windows service that's running this, because that has to be off first, because you can't have two things running on the same port. Only one thing can run on one port. So if I turn this off and put my web server onto that port, now to a normal person, that's a cybersecurity person that's analyzing, they might be fooled into thinking that I have no web server on this computer, but in reality I do. It's just on a different port. Now I'm using web servers here as the example, but this could go for anything that you want to do, all right? Not just web servers. But could you do that on AWS also? Yes, you can do this on AWS on a web browser. If you have Google Chrome and you want to get a Linux computer or a Windows computer, you can use AWS to do it and access them all through the web browser only. All right, and on those operating systems that you spin up on AWS, you can download Docker and you can do everything I'm doing right here. Can you zoom into the screen for Wireshark, please? Yes. Can I? Is that a thing? Oh, here we go. Zoom. Zoom in. All right. Let me see. So here's the hex and the actual text right here, but it corresponds with, on the other side of the screen over here, it corresponds with this text that you can see here. Can you show? I still don't understand. So step one, make an AWS account. So once you make an AWS account, I'll show you how to do the next steps. But first make an AWS account and then let me know in the chat and then we'll move forward. Any questions in regards to the ports? Because the main thing I want to get across here is there are the ports that you're learning for that are with the services like DNS is 53. That is the agreed upon default port. So if you set up a DNS server and I want to connect to you, I'm going to expect you're running it on 53. Same thing if you're using Chrome. If I'm using Chrome and I'm a user that wants to access your super cool website, my browser is going to expect you to be running your web server on either 80 or 443. All right, but it doesn't mean you are restricted to that. You can do anything you want. This is programming. There are no codes, government codes, guidelines, regulations anywhere. It is a free-for-all. You can do anything you want. There's nothing holding you back anywhere. And the more you get into programming, the more you will understand it at a deeper and deeper level, and the more you will be scared. Any questions in regards to that? Do you guys want to see more examples? I think the reason why the rest of the web page data is not in here is because it's reaching out to a different... Can I shrink this? How do I... Oh, there we go. Perfect. Can I shrink the... What is this pulling these images from? Because I think it's a different address it's using. Let's see here. Localhost 12345. Yeah, it is. Let me try you snooping around on a different... Whoops. Stop. Let me see if I can snoop around on a different one here. I can snoop around on all these at once, right? This is doing all of them? Is this doing all of them? Alright, let's see here. I think this is doing all of them. So let me refresh so that way we can see more data in here. There's that. Where is the... Is it this one? It's been a while since I've used like Wireshark in a meaningful sense, so bear with me. I know there is some type of command where you can like take a session. So basically, you know, you have TCP where they're agreeing and they're talking to each other, and that will last for however long it does. There's some type of option in here that you can click on that will get rid of everything else that's not a part of that like gentleman's agreement and then chat. Because I'm trying to get the extra traffic here. Why are there so many resets? Maybe I'm not on the right port. I'm done creating the free account. Awesome. Let us go through this example. So any of you other guys can also follow along. So go ahead and sign into your AWS account. I'm going to sign into mine. Again, this is not something that you're going to be tested on, anything like that. This is an extra thing because someone has some questions and this will help. Oh no. Gosh darn it. Give me like 2 seconds. I gotta go plug in a thing into my computer. I'm gonna disappear. Goodbye, world. So cruel. Did it work? Oh, there we go. I have hardware keys, so they have to get plugged in. Okay. Let me go ahead and go on to, I guess I'll just go on to users. Okay. So once you log into AWS, it should look something like this. Let me know if you are logged in and it looks something like this. May not be exactly the same, but it should be pretty similar. So hardware keys for you guys that have questions on that. So, you know, when you log into a site, there's multi-factor authentication, which is like, it's going to text you something that you have to then enter in, or maybe you have an app like Google Authenticator or something that has keys that get generated every minute. A hardware key is the same thing. Kind of looks like this. Where's the camera? Hold on. It looks like this, but now you don't need your phone or anything like that. You just plug this into your computer and then you hold your finger on this and it will automatically do the second part of the authentication for you. It is more secure to use hardware keys than it is to use your phone for multi-factor authentication. And if you don't believe me, governments and high-end corporations will use this for their sensitive stuff. They won't use these exact ones. They have their own stuff they use, but it's really good. All right, Kamal, are you in AWS? Do you have a screen that looks like this? How ominous, lol. I would be terrified if goodbye world is what my computer said. Wait, did my computer say that? So once you're in here, type in EC2. EC2 is going to be how you can launch your own servers. And then once you go to EC2, you should see a screen like this. Let me know when you see a screen like this. Yeah, so again, search EC2 and then click right here on EC2. And you should have a screen kind of like this one. Let me know when you are ahead. Anyone else that's in the stream, go ahead and feel free to ask questions and I'll answer them and then snap back here to this AWS venture for Kamal. Again, these questions are totally up to you guys. We can do whatever you guys want. You can ask questions in regards to anything, what we covered, maybe not what we covered, things that are totally off topic, that is a-okay. So once you see this, there's a orange button here that says launch instance. You're going to click on this button for launching an instance. and then you'll get a new screen like this. Let me know when you see this screen here. Again, if you guys, this is completely optional. If you have Docker, you can do a-okay with this stuff. All right, sweet. So here you just want to give it some type of name, so you can just call it your Linux computer, because I recommend you using Linux. And below you'll see Quick Start, where you can choose between Amazon Linux, Mac OS, Ubuntu, Windows, Red Hat, and a bunch of other stuff. I recommend just sticking with Ubuntu, and make sure you choose something here that says free tier eligible. And then scroll down, and then also on the instance type, make sure that says free tier eligible. This is so you can run it for free. Alright, once you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see this key pair login. You're going to want to create a new key pair, and it's going to want to download some stuff on your computer. Just download it, keep it safe, don't worry about it too much. You won't have to utilize these ones. And the only other thing is you're going to want to make sure you are allowing SSH traffic. And I'll show you what you want to do here actually instead, because this is going to be a little too constraining for you. But that's pretty much it. Then you just can click on Launched Instance. I won't click on Launched Instance right now, so just let me know if you're good or not. Any other questions that we have? Anything in regards to anything we covered? Again, this is all up to you guys on how long we go today. At the end, we're going to poll for the giveaway. I won't be showing on screen the actual poll happening, because there is information like people's emails on there, but I will announce the person's name. Also, right after the stream, you will get emailed. You have 1 week to claim your prize. If you do not email us back and claim your prize, we will be re-rolling next week your prize to someone else. What do I do for key pair? Just create a new one. There's a little button right here. You can click on there and click on create a new. It's going to download something. This is the keys we were talking about before, which is the asymmetric keys, where there's a private and public one. That's what it's generating here, because that's used all of the time. It is important to know these concepts. So here's a real world example on top of your normal web browsing that uses asymmetric keys. Okay, sweet, you've launched. I'm going to launch mine. It's going to take a couple minutes to spin up. I'm going to say no key. So once yours is spin up, just let me know. There is one more thing that we will need to do, and that's going to be editing the firewall on your server, so that way it's not going to cause you issues. Because there's this concept, and this is actually important. We don't have it right now on the test, but we will most likely be adding it to the test later this year. It's this concept of zero trust. So again, the world of programming is totally chaotic. It is up in the air. Anyone can do anything at any time. There is no rules or regulations. So what organizations have been starting to implement is enforcing good policies and enforcing onto users good behaviors and practices, whether they want to or not. It is for the betterment of the internet as a whole, because it is forcing you to be more secure about things, at least by default. By the way, it will say running when it's actually running. So what zero trust architecture means is that by default, your firewall is up and blocks everything, and you don't let anyone in. Your box is completely locked down, and no one can look at you, touch you, smell you. You have to then go in after the fact and open things that you want to allow the external world to get access to it. It's a security feature, basically starting at most secure and then opening things up like doors as needed. So it's a new way, instead of starting from completely open and unsecure and then trying to build around it, it's just the reverse. So Kamal, just let me know when yours says running. Any other questions? Let me see here. We went through the Wireshark example. We spun up a couple servers. As you guys could see, the green means there's 2 servers running right now. I could start these ones also. I guess I should start this one because that one's... So I have 3 servers, the exact same web server running 3 times on my computer, which is the awesomeness about Docker, and it's as simple as starting and stopping. And these are running on 3 different ports. So again, that's the awesome things when you're building this tech. You know, you can run as many of a server you want, as long as they are on different ports. That is okay. These 2 are on the same port. So if I try to start this one, you'll see an error comes up because you cannot have the same server running on the same port at the same time. All right, sweet. So if yours says it's running, if you scroll down, if you click on it, so yeah, if you click on the little blue part right here underneath instance ID, you'll see information about it. Mostly, the most important thing is going to be your public IPv4 address, or the public DNS. Both of those, if you click on them, will allow you to kind of see your server. I don't have them because we have a super locked down, secured facility here at Rootkit, so things don't get that by default. We have a super hardcore zero trust architecture. But don't worry about that. You will have them. You will have one. So before you do anything, I want you to scroll all the way down here to these little tabs. In this section called security, I want you to click on it. Security is not good for newbies, so we're going to remove your security. Once you click on security, there's this thing right here called security groups and another blue link right here. This is your firewall settings. You can see your firewall settings down here below, which say that any incoming traffic, you're not going to allow any incoming traffic except for port 22. This is no fun if you're trying to develop and test things right now as we're going forward on 100 days of Rootkit. So we're going to open your server up completely. Do not do anything sensitive on this server. We are going to open it 100% up to the world. So what I need you to do is this link right here that is blue underneath security groups, go in and click on that. It'll bring you to this page. All the way at the bottom and to the right, you're going to see a bunch of buttons here. The button here for edit inbound rules is what we need to click on. This is actually great for everyone watching too, because we've talked about a lot of these concepts in networking so far, so we're about to see them. So I need you to click on that edit inbound rules button right here. When you do that, you'll see the rules. These are the rules for your firewall. This is what you will allow and not allow into your server. Go ahead and add a new rule, and when you see type, you'll see a lot of these types that we have gone over in this class so far. SSH is here, SMTP, DNS, FTP, POP3, IMAP, LDAP, HTTPS, and some extra stuff, the secure version of those web servers. And there's a bunch of databases in here. All of this information we're telling you guys is very relevant, very important. You will see it all of the time. What I want you to do is just at the very top, there's going to be an all traffic button. We're open this thing completely open. All right, I want you to click on the all traffic. Over here is where you type in the IP addresses that you want to be able to access this box. Now, the most secure thing you could do is figure out what your public IP address is, aka the one that's attached to your router that's publicly seen by the internet, and you plug that guy into here. Or if you don't want to go through that hassle, you can just put all zeros, this first block right here, all zeros with a CIDR of 0. This will give anyone in the world access to it. But as you can see here, this should look kind of familiar. We have these slashes, which are the CIDR blocks. All right. You can also, so AWS supports CIDR blocks, so you can be very specific to what type of people or computers can access this server. But I recommend putting either your IP address or just all zeros and go ahead and save that rule. Once you save that rule, you're pretty much good to go. If you go back to the EC2 dashboard here and then click on running instances and get back to this page, we can continue forward. Let me know if you got through all of that. Any questions on what we've talked about or shown so far? Put AWS on your resume. This is good stuff too. This is a high-end demand skill that people want. You have now used AWS. You have now used EC2 on AWS. Now you can put it on your resume. So put it on your resume. People want to know. Even though you're learning it right now, it doesn't matter. You've used it. You're ahead of someone else who hasn't used it. Anyone that's watching, you should maybe dabble a little bit and definitely put on your resume. Would putting in the external IP for a router be a security issue into this? No, that's the one that you want. So remember, so if I were going to specify, for example, on this one, if I wanted to specify only I can access this server, I have access to do anything with the server, aka all traffic from me is okay, I could specify my IP here. And this needs to be your public IP. So if I go into Google and say, what's my IP? This one right here is the one that you would want to put in here. If you, my CIDR block is going to be 32. If you go into here, again, remember this is, you're in a LAN right now. So if you, why is this? Holy crap, PowerShell. Why you gotta be this way? All right, so if I do IP config, you'll see that my computer has this internal IP address, but this is internal to my LAN. So do not use that IP address. That will not work at all. Remember, pull up Paint real quick. Paint and brush. Your router sits right here. Anyone, so your public IP, public IP is what everyone sees out in internet land. Only internally within your LAN is where your internal IP addresses are a good tender currency. Anything outside of here is going to be using your router's public IP address. So if you're at home with your brother, your cousin, your mom, whoever, your significant other, all of you guys going to all various sites will look like it's coming from the exact same person. All right? That's why if you are pirating things, you could screw over everyone else in your household because they might all lose internet because of you pirating things. Because there is no distinguishing. It is all coming from the same place. Let us continue. I need to get rid of this because this will not work for me because how we have our stuff set up here. Yeah, okay. So now that you're at the dashboard, go in and click on the instance ID again. So you see this, and there's going to be a button here called Connect. Go ahead and click on that button, Connect. And then there's going to be the EC2 instance connect. It should have a default username in there. You don't need to change that. And then click on the connect button. Mine doesn't work because we have ours set up in a very secret sauce special way. So I will have to do it via Session Manager. But you should see then a terminal screen like this. Again, you are not going to get pretty pictures. The only time you'll get pretty pictures by default is if you load up a Windows box, but in programming world, you're not going to get very many pretty pictures anymore. In operating systems, the next module, we're going to go over all the things you need to know on how to navigate a terminal. And that is going to be the default way as a developer you will navigate through things. Because again, pictures take time, effort, and developers don't really know how to do pictures on average. All right, they're not graphics people. That's why you hire a graphics team, or what they're called, like a UI team, which stands for user interface, and they'll be developing all of those. There are whole dedicated lines to that. And if you are interested in making graphics, then being on a UI or UX team might be really good for you. Blending developing knowledge plus UI or UX. So UI stands for user interface, UX stands for user experience. That is super like an awesome combo, which is very rare because most people in that space don't have very much developer experience. Did you get here, Kamal? And for you guys at home that are following along with Docker, you can do the same thing. So in these Docker boxes here, you can click on the triple dots, and there's an option here for run in terminal. So if you click on that, you'll get a terminal that pops up. And now you have a terminal instance, just like we do here in AWS. The big difference is, though, the Docker version of these operating systems are ultra lightweight. What does that mean? They cut out everything that's not needed. So imagine you are, I don't know, you're running a web server. You just want that web server to run. You don't care. So you don't care about any web browsers on the machine, or I don't know, what are some extra things? Any pictures, graphics. I'm trying to think of other examples. There's a bunch of extra fluff in your operating system that you don't want. So you can cut it all out and make your server really small, really lightweight, and it can actually run and be more performant. So these guys, containers, are extra performant because of all of the extra cutting out they do. Kamal, are you with me? Did you get here, buddy? Oh, okay, perfect. So you got this. I recommend if you type in this keyword, type in the word bash and press enter. That will give you a nicer looking terminal prompt. So I highly recommend doing that. But now you are in your Linux machine. You have a full server and you have access to it. So in here, you're going to need to download Docker. So if you're on Ubuntu, it's typically going to be, you have to type in this command, sudo apt install, or I think it's snap now. Hold on. Sudo snap install Docker. There we go. I'll paste this command in the chat. Hopefully that was the right command. I'll go double check it here in a second. Hold on, let's look at Docker here real quick. Linux. Hopefully I didn't mess that up. We want to download Docker Linux. There's that one. Where's the snap command? Because I know you can do it with snap. Well, try running this command also. Here, try running that one. Did you use a Ubuntu image? Or did you use Amazon Linux? Because this will be different. Where's mine? Paste. Yeah, see, it doesn't work with the sudo. That's what I thought, because I had to do snap last time. Yeah, and there we go, and it's installed. Yeah, so, well, entertain me this. Type in Docker and press enter. If you get a large text output like this that I have, then you're good. If you don't, then you need to still install it. Let me see. Amazon. So not all Linuxes are the same. So I don't recommend Amazon Linux. I think it's pretty garbage overall. Use Ubuntu every time if you have to use a Linux version. You could use Red Hat also. I don't recommend it because it's not beginner friendly. The docs that are out there when you Google things are going to be usually towards Ubuntu. All right, so use Ubuntu. Docker command not found. All right, so who am I? Gosh darn it, uname tag A. All right, entertain me this. Run this command, and then paste the output into the chat because I just want to verify what type of operating system you have right now before we move forward, so I don't go down rabbit holes for no reason. Oh boy, I'm all out of coffee. Any other questions you guys have while we're going on this side venture? Free to answer any questions. We can go on more side ventures since there is delay between doing stuff with you guys and then responding. Oh no. Oh, I'm just dropping everything. Any questions as we wait for Kamal to respond? All right. I see Kamal's typing right now. Any questions on Wireshark? Or those of you that got Docker set up on Docker, are there any other examples you want to see back on this? Is there anything else you want to talk about here that maybe didn't make sense or you would like to see more examples of? Anything at all, you guys, while I'm helping out here with Kamal. I've sent it 3 times. IDK, why it's not going through? What are you getting? What is the message that you gotta send me what it's saying? Help me help you. All right. While you respond, with that, I'll be back in like 30 seconds. I'll be right back in like 30 seconds. Give me like 30 seconds. All right. Paste the message in chat 3 times. Oh, is Google blocking it? Then put it in the Discord. It'd probably be better in the Discord anyways. So, tomorrow, we are going to be getting into specialty networks and then talking about cloud computing. Well, look at that. We're already talking about cloud computing right now. We're already diving into this sphere of the cloud. All right. Cloud overall, I mean, we'll hit it again tomorrow, but it's generally just used as a buzz and marketing term for what's already existed for decades now, which is just server farms. But it sounds more innovating when you use the word cloud. As you'll see in this industry, it's funny because a lot of sites will just go heavy on buzzwords. And it's just buzzword jumbo. Oi, oi. It's actually quite irritating a lot of times because some people who are just stupid. They're just so stupid. Like, holy crap, they are stupid. How do you have your job? They will just go on the buzzword lottery, spin a wheel, find their buzzword of the day, and then use that like crazy. Use it on documents, proposals, business deals, and it works. It works and they can get business deals done even though it's just buzzwords and nothing, there's no sustenance behind it. It's quite impressive actually. Quite impressive indeed. So yeah, tomorrow we'll be talking about VLANs and going over VPNs once more and my hate for the VPN providers that advertise to you guys and how they are scamming and ripping you guys off. And then we're going to be talking about the actual real world use, which we use all the time. We use right here in our AWS stuff. We use VLANs like crazy. Okay, now do you see it? You did not post anything in Discord. I need you to put it in Discord. So we'll be talking about VPNs and we'll be talking about VLANs and how you can get VLANs set up on these bad boys. Also VLANs set up in cloud infrastructure and how it can be very, very useful for you, especially security wise. How you can help protect yourself from hackers. Yeah, do everything through the Discord right now. But yeah, they can help a lot with keeping you protected. Alright, so it's very, very important for you to know these things. And I mean, we use VPNs all the time. I have OpenVPN right here on my computer for connecting to VPNs that I'm associated with. We are using them not how you think VPNs are supposed to be used, because how you normally think that they are because of the advertisements is 100% wrong. They are not how you are supposed to be using VPNs. Can you show me how to send it through Discord real quick? I don't really know how. Don't DM me. Just put it in chat. Just put it in the Discord chat. There's nothing sensitive about what you are doing right now. It is a server that has absolutely nothing on it. And if you want to run through things again, you can totally spin up another free tier server and destroy the one that you are on right now and tear it down. So you guys can kind of see right here also the IP address that we have on this box. If I do ifconfig, because we are on Linux. Oh gosh, sudo ifconfig. What the heck? IP config? Did I spell? What is going on here? There we go. Yep. So looks like you're using Amazon Linux. So since you're using Amazon Linux, there's going to be a different setup. This is why I recommended using Ubuntu, AWS, AMI, Docker install. Let me see here. Installing Docker. Alright, so these are the commands you're going to need to run. I'm going to put them in the Discord. So you're going to want to run this one. Then you're going to want to run this one. And then you're going to want to run this one. This one is optional, but go ahead and just run it anyways. And yeah, sure, why not? You can run that one also. And then you should be good. Everything should be 100% set up for you. So running through these commands, we are going to talk about operating systems more and more as we move forward. But so you know how on your operating system, like if you're on Windows, if we type in Windows update, can you put them in the YouTube chat? Okay. Don't run that. Hold on. Those need to be. I thought I would keep them as individual. Run that one. Once that one is done, then you can run this one, and so forth with all these. There's a couple of them. All right. So, like I was saying, Windows Update. A lot of you guys will be familiar with this because you have a Windows computer. This varies. Mac OS. The whole point is this is an update area where you can update things. Also, you have like the Windows Store. This varies on your computer. So, for example, Mac OS will have the App Store. These concepts are also done on Linux computers and servers. Depending on the server you're using, the store name will be different. So the store name when you're using one of these Amazon containers is called Yum. I know, yum yum. When you're using Ubuntu, it's going to be apt. Now this command, the first one that I put in and sent him, is just going to be sudo means run it as an administrator. Yum is the application you want to use, and you're saying anything that is existing on this server, I want you to go ahead and update it, and tac yes or tac y is yes. Just because you have to, on some applications, you have to like manually type in yes to ensure you want to update it. So this will automatically just update everything on your computer for you. This next one is going to install Docker. So you're going to see we're running this application called Amazon Linux Extras. This is different than Yum. This is a different store per se, a different app store on the computer that's pre-installed, at least on these Amazon Docker when you're using the Amazon operating system. You want to install, which is why we have install here, and then what do you want to install, which is Docker. And then down here is actually starting Docker. So there's a command or an application called service, which will start this service because Docker is a pretty rather large application that requires a bunch of things running in the background. So this is basically saying, I want you to start the services that Docker has in the background. So you're saying start right here. And then this is just an optional thing, which is for it will auto start on each reboot that you do on your computer. And then there's another thing here for giving your account, your normal user, admin perms, administrator perms, but for something very specific, aka running Docker. Might be a lot of stuff. Don't worry, we're going to go over a lot of this again in operating systems, and this works specifically for the Amazon OS. There's the Ubuntu OS, which has a completely different setup. Red Hat and Debian, or not Red Hat and what's the other big one? Fedora, other ones like that will all have potentially different setups. The Linux world is pretty messy. There are a dime a dozen ways to do the exact same thing, and so it gets very complicated very quickly. All of those that are interested in things like Pop! OS or whatever other crazy new thing is meant for the normal 10-year-old, don't use them. Don't use them. We're not using them in this world. Do not run a server on them. Do not run a server on them. They're not meant for that. They're not going to get you very far, especially on security. There's a reason why a lot of these services here, if you go to cloud services like Google Cloud, Azure, if you really want to run stuff on Alibaba, I think you're kind of crazy, but you can, and AWS, these are the ones that you're going to want to run on. So Red Hat is here, Ubuntu here. These are all the big common ones. Amazon Linux. Why are these here? Why are they popular? Why are they used all the time? Because they're very secure. They have a lot of security features built in by default. So it's recommended you use them. And they have tooling built into them. But additionally, probably one of the most important things is they have ecosystems behind them. They have developer support, and they're easily Googleable for any issues that and problems you may run into in order to, perform tasks. That is not true for a lot of things, but they have a very large list of offerings. Most of them are just different variations of Windows, but you can see here they have 47 different operating systems out of the box that they that they can use. There are, of course, more like CentOS, Kali, Linux is available, and this is on the marketplace. This is kind of like your store, so you can get various different operating systems on here. You can also get your own VPN and set it up. These are OpenVPN is a free open source VPN thing that you can do, which is completely free. So you can set up all that. There's things for Cisco. So if you're trying to get your CCNA, you can potentially set up Cisco stuff. It's going to be kind of limited. I wouldn't completely recommend it, but it is there if you want to mess with stuff. And then there's community, which is anyone like you can upload operating systems and then have people utilize them. All right, let's see here. Pasted. All right, sweet. If go in and just type in the command docker. Just type in that command, press enter, and if you get a big printout like this, that means you are all good and ready to rumble. So let me know if you can see that when you type in that command. Nope. Well, this is running a little too long, so can't really help you too much more. You may need to type in sudo docker. Sudo docker. So I'm gonna call that good. If that doesn't work, then I would go ahead and stop your box from running, so that way you don't use up your free credits unless you want to keep exploring. If you want to keep exploring, just Google what you're trying to do. I'll send you the page right now that I am looking at. This is for Ubuntu. Where is the Amazon one? This is the Amazon one. So you can go there and check out that link and keep trying to diagnose your issue. But this is taking a little too long right now. So we're just going to move forward. And are there any other questions right now before we potentially call this a day? Again, we're about to do our poll for the sweater. Any other questions? All right, let's do the poll for our sweater. So I'm gonna pull this off to a new screen and go ahead and dive into the back end here and pull up all the people. All right, where, oh, there we go. Giveaways. Week 3 giveaways. All right, we need to poll a winner. So let us poll our winner. Get a drum roll. You have credits for a year, so you don't need to worry too much. But I would highly recommend you to completely delete and destroy that operating system and redo it with Ubuntu. All right, do it with Ubuntu. Again, do Ubuntu, Ubuntu, Ubuntu. Never click on this Amazon one. So here, when you're launching an instance, just avoid Amazon, click on Ubuntu. Use Ubuntu. Again, use Ubuntu. There's nothing but cancer and headache when you use the Amazon one. I've used it many times before, trying to get it to do the things that I need it to do. It is toxic, it is cancer, it is garbage. It is one of the most garbage things Amazon has ever made. I do not recommend it. Just use the Ubuntu one. Click on Ubuntu and use this. To delete your instance, if you click on your instance on the checkbox here, or if you actually click on the ID here, you can click on terminate instance. So this is how you can completely delete it. So I recommend deleting the one that you have and then remaking a new one from scratch. And then you can rerun those commands. The Ubuntu one, you can Google yourself, but here is the doc for it. It's literally one single command, which is this is the one single command that you have to run on Ubuntu, and that's it for it to be up and running. Or potentially, you may also need to do this, maybe the snap one if that one doesn't work. And that is it. Where is my... There we go. Terminate instance. It's in this instance state here. So that's what you want to do to completely destroy and dismantle it. All right, the giveaway. Let us choose the winner, and it's going to randomly poll a winner. And it's Raw Askia. Raw Askia. I know who you are. I've seen you all the time. I'm gonna ping you in the Discord also. Raw Askia, you won. There we go. Sweet. So they have won the sweater for this round. So enter, you guys, for week 4. We're going to be polling someone new for the next one. Some of you guys put in some weird names into this. My God. I'm not showing these on screen, but some of these are pretty out there. Okay. Any other questions before we end the stream? Again, the week 4 giveaway is up, is live. If you go to the Rootkit site and go to our blog, you'll see week 4 where you can enter the giveaway, and we're going to be giving this time all of our stickers. Also, we are coming close to the end of the month. There are 2 things that are going to happen at the end of the month. Thing number 1 is Anonymous Donator will be matching all of the donations that have came through so far. So make sure you donate to get matched. Second is we've been watching chat. We've been watching you guys. We've been seeing who's been chatting, participating, asking questions. We've been logging, all right? And based off of that, we are having another random giveaway at the end of the month. Mystery item you'll see at the end of the month for those only who have been actively participating and chatting in the chat. All right? So we are rewarding those who have been super active. All right, sweet. Any other questions? If not, we're going to call that one a day. Again, tomorrow we are going to continue on our journey, and we're going to be going into specialty networks and going over cloud computing. So we'll be talking about some of the things we went over today, specifically with AWS. We're going to talk about the power of cloud computing. All right. I think that is it that we got, and I shall see you guys